And the Oscar goes to Brendan Fraser. The Whale.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to yet another quick peek with yours truly, James. And I'm here with our main guy, Mike. What's going on, Mike?
Not bad, not bad. I got to see my biopic last night, so let's get right into it.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, man, not even no freaking
That's right.
lotion, nothing. Go straight into it. As you could probably guess, ladies and gentlemen, we are going on our Oscar nomination movie hunt. And number one with the harpoon is The Whale. We're going to go with The Whale first. So, quick synopsis, we're going to go. We're going to talk about the movie cast and the plot production of the movie. Then we're going to get into the reception, release, and box office of the movie. And then we're going to give our grades. Be real quick, down and dirty, we get into it. But before we do, happy International Women's Day to all our women. First of all, Queen of the Pod, Brooks, our significant others and family and friends, and to our subscribers and everyone on this planet
Yeah,
Earth
I think
that
I
we
know a
know are
woman or
human.
two. I'm not sure. I have to
Um,
think.
we're getting in trouble. We're getting divorced. All right. So let's get into it. The Whale. So this movie, The Whale, is a 2022 American psychological drama that was filmed and directed by Darren
Aronofsky.
Aronofsky. Take that,
Aronofsky,
Chris.
Chris.
I got it first
Aronofsky.
try. Okay, don't take that, Chris. I fucked up. However, it was written by Samuel Hunter, who also wrote the original play 2012, of which this movie
Right.
was made an adaptation. The film stars Brendan Fraser, Sadie Sink, Hong Chow, Ty Simpkins, and Samantha Morton. In a nutshell, without getting into it, the plot really revolves around this morbid, obese, reclusive English lit teacher. And I don't think, Mike, you saw my little tag name there on the screen. You should recognize this
Hmm.
English teacher from high school. So the main character, protagonist, is an English teacher who tries to restore his relationship with his teenage daughter in what, without spoiling it, which we will, seems to be his end of days. Um, that being said, I don't know, did you recognize, other than Brandon Fraser, the young actress
Yeah,
from Stranger
Sadie.
Things?
Yeah, she's the.
Sadie,
Yeah.
correct. It took me 15 minutes before
Really?
I realized who
Oh,
she
okay.
was because I was like, where do
Yeah.
I know her from? Yeah, because other than her fact that she has ginger
Yeah.
hair, I mean, the way her character was like something different that I haven't seen from
Hmm.
her. So I was a little bit, it took me a while
Yeah,
before I realized
she's
where I
currently in a
recognized her
coma on
from.
Stranger Things, so.
Yeah, currently. There's not really much to say about the cast other than I believe the Asian actress
Yeah.
Hong Chow. She's a character actress in a couple of other things you've seen
She was in the
before.
menu recently.
She was
Yeah,
in
she was.
Watchmen.
Yeah.
She was in The Menu.
Right.
Yes, she was one of the show that one season.
Yeah. So yeah, and she was great. She's great. Like as I was watching this movie, I was like, damn, every performance in here
We're
is
gonna
so
get to
good.
that. Save that for when we get
But
to the
she's
reception
yeah,
because a lot of Oscar buzz
yeah.
around a lot of people here involved in this movie. So other than that, the synopsis is pretty good. Let's just get right into it. Let's get into the plot.
Yeah.
So the plot itself revolves around the fact that Brandon Fraser's character Charlie is currently an English literature professor who is teaching online and is
Mm.
trying to engage his students to be more engaging in English literature and writing. But as he's doing this, there's a lot of side stories that are being put forth in the first half of the movie. One is the fact that obviously we mentioned the fact his character is morbidly obese. And it's very obvious that's the case to the point where he's blacking out his screen as he's instructing his students for shame and fear of being embarrassed. And his day-to-day activities revolve around the fact that he's limited what he can do because of he's close to 600 pounds. At some point you realize that he's already accepted his fate And Hong Chow plays the
Hmm.
character. Forget her name. The character Lucy. Is it Lucy? Liz? Can't recall, and I apologize. Liz,
Liz.
thank you. She's basically like
Liz.
a
Yeah.
voluntary caretaker to him, and we don't quite know until the mid to second half of the movie why she's so basically chosen that role. She's there making sure that he's okay. And then later on, we meet another character who comes in, what seems like to be one of those Jehovah's Witnesses or missionary type of folks who just happens to be there quite a bit and is also engaging in his well-being and health wellness. And then eventually meet our, what's the word he used? Deuterogenous, not protagonist, Deuterogenous, the second lead of the movie, which is his daughter, played beautifully by
Hmm.
Sadie Sink. I forget her name as well. And that basically kicks off the first half of the plot, where now his daughter, who apparently she's pretty estranged with him. Clearly, he's been divorced from his wife. There's hints of the fact that there was some infidelity, which led to him dating another man, and then that man had passed away. So his life is basically at like a crossroads. His health is down. He's working online. His daughter he hasn't seen in a while. So everything kind of brings us within the first 15, 20 minutes of like a very sad state of affairs with this character, Charlie. So, Mike, let's focus on
Yeah.
this first third of the movie. Not necessarily the first half, the first third of the movie. What were you getting out of this
Hmm.
as the story was bringing us this character and these other side characters around Charlie and his life?
Yeah. I mean, the whole thing was pretty sad to begin with. Like, we start the movie with him struggling. His blood pressure's going through the roof. He can barely get up from the couch. We basically walk through a day in his life. We start with the class, and after the class, then he's got the pizza coming, and then we see him the struggle to go shower and just to do whatever a normal person can do without struggle. We see what a struggle it is for him, and we see his when Liz comes over, he's struggling with his blood pressure. Up in the 200s.
234
It's
over one thirty, yeah,
crazy.
over 134.
Yeah, and he refuses to get
Medical
health
help.
care and medical assistance, which we find out why later.
By the way,
So
during that moment, I was
there's a
thinking,
lot
what
of
if he was in Canada? Would have been a different story, but
yeah,
uh,
probably. So I mean, that's not to say we don't have people like that up here, right?
true,
But
true.
you know,
So
yeah.
something I failed to
So
mention, the first
it's
18 minutes, Mike, is the fact that because of the basically it's congestive heart failure and Liz's caretaking of him, the prognosis is he's got a week to live, plus or minus. So it
yeah,
starts. So the
right.
movie takes us now on a day by day basis, right? Well, everything we're talking about right now
Hmm.
happens, like you said, a day in his life. Really, is that first day of getting like that
Hmm.
prognosis, like, dude, you're gonna die if you unless you get medical
Yeah,
attention, and he refused to get medical attention. So we're gonna follow him, from Monday through Friday, just about. So I don't want to cut you off there. I want to make sure.
yeah, and he knows that this is it for him. So I guess he's trying to make plans accordingly, make amends where he can,
Correct.
right? So
Correct.
yeah.
So I want to take a little moment here. I know I'm going to talk about the agenda of characters, but it kind of characters meld with the plot. Before we get to Charlie, let's focus on Liz a little bit more. So something that we encounter, not necessarily day one, that Monday, but the following day, is that the fact that the reason why Liz has been volunteering to take care of Charlie, free of money, monetary reasons, despite the fact that she is challenging him to do better, is we find out that as part of Charlie's estrangement and separation from his wife, his infidelity, he was dating her brother. He was in a relationship with her
Right. So she
brother.
was basically, yeah, she's basically his sister-in-law,
Correct.
right?
And the
Like,
why
they
technically
never
it's not
got officially
sister-in-law
married,
is
but
because we get the introduction of some sort of religious ideology in this show, in this movie, where
yeah, it was kind of like not the Mormons, maybe not Jehovah's almost. somewhere in between there,
Yeah,
right?
I don't want
They
to
didn't want to
single
call
out
out. Like
religions,
I
baptism,
understand.
whatever, Baptist, whatever, but
Yeah,
it's where
I don't. I like I understand the author not wanting to call out a specific
yeah,
religion and get in trouble, right? So it was just the what did he call them?
new
The
life. It was called a new life.
New
Yeah,
Life, yeah. So it was a New Life church. So you could kind of say it's almost Unitarian, blah blah
correct,
blah. You know what I mean?
correct.
Progressive, but they weren't really progressive,
No, they
were
were
they?
not. Quite the
So
opposite. And in fact,
yeah,
Liz's brother commits suicide because of the fact that he couldn't live with the shame of him being in a homosexual relationship with Charlie. And
hmm
because of Liz's brother's death and how it impacts both Liz and Charlie, they become their own unit, brother-in-law, sister-in-law, not legally,
right.
but you know. So in grief comes this relationship where
This
this
bond,
bond, thank
yeah,
you, where now Charlie's dealing with it by gaining weight at massive levels. And Liz,
yeah, it's traumatic.
yeah, PTSD.
Like that's it's how he, yeah, because of the suicide, was very traumatic for him. You know, and obviously people deal with trauma in different ways. Some people drink, some people take drugs, some people eat to compensate. They need to feel something, and food is one way, you know, to satisfy that, you know, not a literal hunger, that emotional hunger. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
and they show
So,
it.
and that
They,
was
I
Charlie's
forget the
case. Yeah,
director. Kudos to the director. There's some scenes in this movie where when he's going through some emotional moments, and then he first thing he looks at is a food, a bucket of chicken, some candy bars, and then the camera focuses
yeah,
on and Brandon Fraser again. I think he's my pick to win the Academy Award for Best Actor. They show like
yeah.
his
When we
face
get in,
shows
I got a lot to say when we get
this
to that.
this him being satiated and the satisfactory emotions he has as he's chewing. All of a sudden, he went from near tears to happiness because of that food engorgement. And it's
But then we get to that post. We get to that post, and I'm pretty sure we've all been there. Like after Thanksgiving
regret.
dinner, when you
Yeah,
go, "Oh my God, why did I eat so much?" That guilt,
regret.
that resentment of what did I just do? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So we saw that a couple times as well, to the point when he was like throwing up and stuff, like after gorging
yeah,
himself.
yeah.
You
There's a
know?
couple of scenes like that, and I'm
So
thinking getting a little bit on ourselves. Like when he's sad about his daughter and he orders all that pizza and he's just tearing through it.
yeah.
But all right, so that's Liz's role. The other main character, before we get to Charlie, is Thomas. So Thomas is an interesting
Mm,
character in this movie only because at first you take him at face value of him being a quote unquote religious zealot, where he's trying to follow his mission, his plan, and he looks at Charlie as like I gotta rescue Charlie from himself.
yeah. Now we got to point out that this guy, sorry, what's his name? Thomas, right?
Thomas is the character's
Yeah,
name, yes.
we got to point out that Thomas is not from the
Let's
town.
do it. Yeah, let's
He's
spoil it.
from
Let's go. Yeah.
he's from Iowa.
Yeah.
It was so that was a great line, by the way. So he is from Iowa, and he was like, I wanted to be a
You left
missionary.
Iowa to
So
go
Liz
to
says to him, you wanted to
Idaho.
be a missionary, so
Why did you go to
so you came to
Africa somewhere?
Idaho.
Yeah, that was great.
Right. So so he's in Idaho doing his missionary work. When we come to find out, not everything is as it appears as well with Thomas. And he comes knocking on the door, and Brandon, the character Charlie's all out of breath, and he's concerned.
So at
So
first, I wasn't quite
he
sure.
makes it his mission.
Sorry, Mike. I wasn't quite sure
Mm.
on Charlie's like why did Charlie feel so important to have Thomas involved? Like I couldn't quite understand like what was Thomas giving him that he needed. I didn't see that in the first half of the movie, and quite frankly, I didn't see
Yeah,
at
you know
all.
what?
But go ahead.
I'm not really sure either. I think it was just, to me, it seemed like Thomas was the one who wanted to be there, and at this point, Charlie was just like, "All right, whatever, dude. You're here, whatever." I don't think Charlie was like, "I want Thomas here," or "I don't want Thomas here." Like, I think in his mind, he was more focused on his daughter
Interesting.
and what he needed to do there. So I don't think he cared either way if Thomas was there or not. But Thomas had his agenda.
Yeah,
So
I mean that's interesting because there's a lot of other characters we're not gonna really get into. For example, the pizza delivery guy, who he seems to have some sort of connection,
yeah,
but that doesn't really pan out. His wife, which we meet later on in the second half of the movie, but ultimately, you
yeah,
kind of mention it. It's his daughter, right? He's really focusing
yeah,
on his daughter, and that really much is again. I mentioned her as a deuterogenist because she takes quite a bit of the plot. She drives a bit of the plot with Charlie, and we meet her on day two, I believe, when she comes in to check
yeah.
up on him out of nowhere because she gets kicked out of school or suspended, whatever it is. So she's looking for a reason to be somewhere else, and she happens to choose her father's place. And I think
Hmm.
from moment one of what's her name again, Sadie Sink. Ellie, I believe, is yes, Ellie is the name of the character. So the moment we're
Ellie.
introduced
That's
with
correct. Yeah.
Ellie and her interactions with her father, Charlie, to me, like I sit up, right? You know the meme when the guy's like playing a video game and all of a sudden fourth quarter, I sit up because
yeah.
something
Uh,
about their chemistry on screen and the dialogue and script written between the two of them. We're both fathers of children, daughters, etc. It ignites something in me where I'm listening to the fact that he has already been given the prognosis that he's not going to make it past the week unless he changes himself, and he has no idea. He has
mhm.
no desire to do that. His daughter
Right.
shows up out of the blue on a random, like, yeah, dad, I just got kicked out of school. I'm just checking up on you. And then you see the interaction between the two of them, and I'm following along beat by beat. And I'm liking the fact that she ultimately says she declines his invitation to help, to do anything, to be involved in her life again, right? Because at this point, his
Hmm.
character's looking at, for no pun intended, like the barrel of a gun, and he's trying to make amends with his life, and he
Right.
chooses this day to say, "Hey, Ellie, I want to be more involved. I want to help you with school. You're so talented." She's like, "You really want to do that? Stand up and walk over here." And I was baffled
yeah,
by both the script, the
man.
acting, both actresses, and how she just delivered that line and was so adamant that I don't want to be part of your life because you've left me. You already did that. So I don't want to get too much
Yeah,
into it
and
without giving you a chance to talk. 'Cause I want to get your opinion. What do you think of both the introduction of Ellie and how that entire first act for her and Charlie? What moments hit you, didn't work or work?
yeah, it was, and we'll see throughout the movie. There's a few times when she's really mean to him, and from the trailer you see that they have a tense relationship. There's a struggle there, but you don't realize until you watch the movie, like the depth, how deep that struggle
Yeah,
is,
yeah.
right? Or the tension is between
Yeah.
them, and you find out why. But she really like stuck that emotional knife in his back, a few times with I wish you would just die already, or you know what I mean, or just I don't even remember the insults, but I
There
just
was a
remember they were
lot. There's
so
quite a
bad,
bit to
and
the point where I was like, "Am I supposed to be rooting for
yeah,
her?"
it
Yeah.
right, exactly, yeah. So as the movie goes on, you're kind of glad or you're hopeful. I didn't see it maybe the way Charlie did, that she was redeeming herself at the end. But we'll get into that.
And her angst towards Thomas, she gets Thomas to open up about his own issues, right? That's when the spoiler comes
Right.
where he actually ran away from home. He stole some petty cash. He didn't like the way that they were trying to spread their ideology. He thought it was a better route. Yada yada yada. Ultimately, you know, she records him privately during this moment of revelation and honesty. And I think this is where you might differ from me, but I think that it was ill intent. Like she didn't mean to record him to help his family save him again, like Charlie says at the last act. I don't think not
That's
intentionally.
yeah. That's See, that's where I was like, Charlie wants to believe that she's redeeming herself, but I couldn't see it. I saw somebody who was still lashing out at people and doing shit just to be evil.
All right,
You
so
know what I
let's
mean?
save that thought because I want to get that to the
Okay.
Charlie and Ellie moment at the end. All right, so we talked about Thomas
Yeah.
and Ellie, Liz, Charlie, and Ellie separately. Let's get to the second half.
And,
Yeah,
and
let's
then
get
yeah,
this. I mean,
yeah.
the wife, yeah, she came in, little plot device, hoo ha, you cheated on me, you slept with the man.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah, that was mostly
yeah,
expositional stuff, right?
exposition, give me
So.
more backstory. Great. All right.
Hmm.
So now we get to the moment where his health is failing. They're giving you day by day classwork and whatnot, and he's going his trials and tribulations with Ellie, and then ultimately, well, first Thomas comes in to Charlie and says, "Hey, it worked. Like Ellie gave this information to my family back in Idaho, Iowa, and now they're forgiving me and they want me to come home." And then in Charlie's mind, he's
Hmm.
thinking, wow, to your point earlier, Mike, is that she is a good person. I did do one good thing in my life was give birth to this person who has redemptive qualities, who's
But
good.
he didn't even think that at he didn't think that at first. He also struggled with it. He said to himself, and he said to Thomas as well. Did she do that to help you, or to hurt you? You know what I mean? Because she didn't know what their reaction would be. She thought maybe they would call the cops on him and he'd be off to jail, or that they would say, "Come home," right? But
Yeah,
we don't
but
know
the
what was in
problem,
her
that's a
mind.
good point, Mike. The problem with that though is, and this is the part I didn't like, then they revealed basically Thomas to be a true religious zealot and homophobic because he took his
Yeah,
own
man.
signs of the Bible and the moment as him being the one to clear Charlie of sin of sleeping with another man. And I think that might have
Right.
turned Charlie against whatever Thomas had to say about his daughter. This is me, I'm speculating. I'm
Yeah.
thinking in that moment he was like, no, she was good. She did good by you. I'm not gonna listen to you because you don't even believe in like gay love. So, throw out the baby with the bathwater. Like there's nothing that you're telling me right now that makes sense to me or I want to really I think that part of the movie I struggle with.
I
I
mean,
struggle with.
in the end, yeah, no, I'm with you, but I think it's so. In the end, what it turned out to be was Ellie was not the evil person, possibly, and I think this is where the writer was going with it. That she was not the evil person we thought she was, and Thomas is not the good person we
He
thought
was.
he was.
Mm,
He turned out being a bastard at the
yeah.
end, and she kind of turned out being the
Correct.
opposite.
All right, so let's get to the end. Let's do it.
Mm.
Because that's a perfect segue. We get to the end. Thomas reveals, himself to Brandon Fraser's character Charlie is trying to save him by getting rid of his, homophobic. And then Charlie's like, no, like I loved uh his partner who committed suicide, and he was one of the best things,
Yeah,
et cetera, et cetera. So he leaves. He's dying, and then Liz and Charlie show up, and he tells Liz to leave to go downstairs. He wants a moment with his daughter Ellie. So this is basically the
yeah,
final, true final act of the movie where he's telling her that what happened with the Thomas show that she's true, and then he gives her the essay, like the essay that he wrote for quote unquote that wrote for her for school, and she I missed a lot. She came home already screaming that she had failed because he resurrected
because of the
her
essay,
eighth
right?
grade essay for freaking 11th grade English literature. Miss Lytel would be pissed. So he
So,
tells her what we've been seeing because he does it a couple times at the beginning of the movie where if he's having like a major health issue, he either reads that poem or asks someone else to recite him that poem. And
yeah, it calms him
do
down,
you
right?
remember Lost with Desmond and how
Hmm.
he had like the book that he never wanted to finish unless he knew he was gonna die? And at one moment in the hatch,
Yeah,
he was about to open it and he realized it was a
yeah,
letter from Penny. That kind of reminded me of that. So at the
yeah,
moment, we realize the
yeah,
author of that same poem is his daughter. and he's having failure
Right.
now at this point. Like he's done. This is Friday afternoon, right? And he asked her to
Yep.
read it, and she refuses to read it. She was like, "No, like we can get an ambulance." He goes, "No." He's at this point he's in oxygen and all this stuff. He's been in oxygen for a couple of days, so he rips it,
Yeah.
and there's a callback to the beginning of the movie when she first meets him or shows up. She asks him to stand up and walk to him. He couldn't do it, couldn't physically do it. So now he's,
Yeah.
through Herculean efforts, he's actually marching towards her as she's reading the essay. Like she succumbs to his request and she actually reads the essay, right? So a lot of
Right.
foreshadowing being thrown at us, and then there's another callback to when they were in the beach when they were younger, when he was still married to her mother, and they were at the beach, and he was putting his feet in the sand, and then this big white light at
Yeah.
the end. So I actually did some research, half-assed internet research, and apparently the original
Hmm.
play by the writer who I mentioned at the beginning of our pod, who was the writer?
By the
Sam
way,
Hunter.
I didn't realize that this. I didn't realize this was a play.
Hmm.
But I'm sitting here watching this thing, and I'm like, man, this would be a great Broadway
Yes,
play.
because the scene, the set, yeah, yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, the whole thing takes place in
One
one
location.
location, right? So,
So Sam,
and then I was obviously when it came up based on the play, I was like, duh. So,
no, you're 100% right. You could see the DNA of a play being um, broadcast in a movie.
but you said you were doing your
So my
research.
half-assed internet research revealed me the fact that, for the most part, the movie and play are in sync, with the exception of the ending. So Sam Hunter, who is
Okay.
also one of the screenwriters for the movie, in the play version, it actually cuts to black at that moment and ends
Mm,
there. There's no flashback.
okay.
It's just him. It's just her reading him the poem, and then the lights slowly dim, and he's on the couch, and it cuts to black.
Uh, okay.
So the movie, I guess, wanted a more positive, upbeat ending, and they showed you getting up
Yeah.
and him walking, then the flashback, and then fade to white. Any other key things you want to bring up about the story that we missed? Because this was what, less than 2 hours. Like this wasn't that long of a movie. Kind of plowed through it.
It was about 2 hours. Yeah, it was
117
about two
minutes. Yeah, three
hours.
minutes short of 2 hours. Yeah.
Yeah. So, story wise, no. I did I like the plot. It's hard to do. I'll get into when we talk about
Uh,
production, but it's hard to do a movie set in one location. You know, so it's a good story for a single location piece movie.
gotcha. All right, let's do it. Let's get into production and filming. So apparently, the director, which I mispronounced the first time, Aronofsky,
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 yeah.
said that he had tried going to Variety magazine. Had said he tried to get the film made for over a decade, but couldn't do it because he struggled to find the right actor to play Charlie. So, however,
The right,
go ahead.
oh, the right
The right
actor,
actor,
yeah, yeah.
correct. So,
Hmm.
however, after he saw Brandon, and sometimes I wonder how many of the stuff is actually market BS that they tell you versus what actually happened. But seeing
Uh
Brandon
huh.
Fraser's performance, I'm like, yeah, I'll take it. Because he said, according to him, when he saw Brandon Fraser in the movie Journey to the End of the Night, well, he thought Fraser would be a good choice for the movie. Then they have to shop it around.
Okay.
You know, Hollywood is. He gets the idea, the script, they shop it around.
Yeah.
And then eventually A24 got the global distribution rights for it. And then it was like a matter of just making sure they got the right director, which he ultimately said he'll do. And then had the screenwriting on board with the original Samuel Hunter, so forth and so forth. Now, production,
Hmm.
film and production, principal photography ran from March 8th to April 7th of 2021. I'm about to say last year, 2 years ago. Short production, really tight in Newburgh, New
Yeah.
York. And for
Oh,
yeah,
upstate.
upstate New
Okay.
York, New York State.
Yeah.
And
Hmm.
apparently for the role, this part's on Wikipedia. Apparently for the role, Francis spent 4 hours each day being fitted with prosthetics that weighed up to 300 pounds. And he also consulted with the
Damn.
Obesity Action Coalition and worked with a dance instructor for months before filming began in order to determine how his character would move with excess weight. by the way, real quick, and you can take it from this point. I read online, half-assed internet research. Apparently, there was a lot of backlash for different people of like the overweight. There's like different clubs, fat associate, whatever,
I was gonna mention that too.
that
Yeah.
did not
So
like his
they
portrayal.
objected to this
But go
movie.
ahead.
Yeah, they thought it was detrimental to the fat people and this and that. So I didn't see it that way though. This movie,
I did not.
like
Yeah, go ahead.
he happened to be a guy with trauma, and his relief of trauma would just happen to be food
Correct.
to an extreme point. This like we've seen movies like remember the Goat with Don
Hmm.
Cheadle, the
Yeah.
basketball movie. He was a heroin addict, and you saw what
Yeah.
happened to him,
Yeah.
right? It's really no different. It's just a different vice. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's mental health. You see
So
different forms of mental health. Yeah.
yeah, it's a mental health problem in the end, and it what the movie wasn't making fun of him being fat or making fun of the condition of making. You know what I mean? You know what I'm trying to say, right? Like
Yeah,
it
at no
wasn't
point
aimed
did I
at that.
find any
Yeah,
humor in anything that I watched on screen, other
right.
than maybe a
No,
couple
exactly.
of perfectly well-timed lines between him and his daughter, or his wife and him, or Liz and him,
Yeah,
that you look back and say that was intentional. That was put there to put some levity in the situation without being too
it
dark.
was more heartwarm. It was more heartwarming
Yes,
than
yes.
funny.
There
You know
was
what I
no
mean?
like, haha,
Yeah,
look at him and laugh at him. It was more like, wow, this is terrible. And he also has regular human
yeah,
life problems too. He's like, I didn't know how much money I
yeah.
had. It was like if you listen to some of the stuff, like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Um,
Right.
when he's Googling heart rate, I've done that before. I've got back from the gym and I Googled my exact heart rate number to see what that means. And I'm like, holy shit, I laughed internally. But
Yeah.
yeah, so that's a little bit of anything you want to add on to the production. Like, I don't know, you realize it was made in upstate New York, because the filming
No.
took basically 30 to 45 days. They shot it pretty quick, pretty tight budget
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. For a 2 hour movie, that's pretty quick, actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
But again, when you only have one location to deal with, you don't have to scout. You scout the one location and that's it, right? You don't have to scout a whole bunch of other stuff. You don't have to deal with, they didn't have to deal with stunts really or anything like that, special
It's all
effects.
practical
You know what I mean?
effects. Yeah, all practical.
Simple
Yeah.
drama. Yeah.
All right.
So
So
it makes
that being
sense.
said, let's go over quickly the release and reception. Um,
Oh, no, just quickly though, before
go
we
for
move
it.
on, I do want to say these types of movies, these single location movies, I really love them. Like, have you ever seen 12 Angry Men,
Yes, of
the
course.
original?
That
I
was an
love
English
that.
lit thing that we had to do when we were in high school. Shout out to Miss Lytel.
You know it. Yep, that's why I
Based
saw
on
it
the
too.
original black and white version, not like the
The black and white version. The remake, anyway. But yes, that movie, fantastic. The 12 of them in the room, deciding the fate of the defendant. And it's just, you don't have to deal with cinematography, production value. It's
laser.
all about the characters and the
Yeah,
story, and that's what I found here. This was about the characters and the story, and again, excellent job there. So that's why I like these single location movies. You have to bring out the best in your writing. You know what I mean?
yeah, but also
In
the,
order to
the
make it
the
work.
cast has to be phenomenal. Like they lucked out. Let me
Right.
not say
Oh
that.
yeah.
I'm not gonna say they lucked out with Brandon Fraser. They took a risk and it really worked to their favor. But yeah, the cast
Exactly. Exactly.
has to rise to the occasion of the script in order for it to do
Yeah.
well. I agree with you. I agree with you. Um, so
Yeah.
we kind of heard listen, I'll be honest with you. Like here at Peak, we mostly do sci-fi, geek, nerd stuff. But we also do, we're
Hmm.
all film buffs, all types of film movies, whether it's reality
Right.
TV one day or, indie movies another night or anime, whatever. So Mike and I heard about this movie for a while. We knew last year in September we're at the Venice Film Festival. They were getting
Yeah.
crazy standing ovations for Brandon Fraser's role. So we knew this movie was going to be something. We just didn't know whether it's going to be something worth our time to watch because there's a lot of movies out there for example, we had like 10 movies nominated for the Oscars, and I don't think we're gonna get to all 10 of them by Sunday. Tar, Women Talking, et cetera, et
No,
cetera.
yeah,
But
no, there's no
this
way. I
movie,
think I've
go
seen,
ahead, sorry.
I think I've seen about four of them.
Wow,
But,
you're ahead of me, dude. You're too ahead of me. Um, but
mm,
the reason why I chose this movie to see first out of that list that I haven't seen yet is because I've heard about Brandon Fraser's acting, and I heard the standing ovations and like he's back, and I don't want to get into the issues he had with Hollywood, Harvey Weinstein molestation that impacted him as well, his hiatus from Hollywood, a lot of things that happened before he came back into
right.
this role. But we knew from the
Yeah.
Venice Film Festival last year that it was going to be a phenomenal movie. It was released officially, I believe, end of last month, February, on demand. I'm not even sure if this is played in theaters, but I know we watched it, digitally. However, what I could say is from my half-assed internet research, as of this week, the movie has grossed about $17 million in the U.S. and Canada, and another 16 million in other territories for a worldwide total about roughly 32 to 33 million dollars. Um, and its budget,
What did it cost to produce?
yeah,
You know?
budget is roughly $1 million.
Sorry. Oh wow. Okay. Yeah, that's a win
That's a
then
huge win.
to me.
It's a huge win.
Yeah.
Rotten Tomatoes right now is giving it roughly 6.6 out of 10. I
Okay.
didn't get IMDb's rating in time before we did the pod.
Yeah, they got it at like 7.4.
Yeah, so my buddy Angel, who's probably
7.8.
watching, he's
Sorry.
he's more of a apostle of IMDb over Rotten Tomatoes, which I give him credit. I think IMDb is a little better at their ratings than Rotten Tomatoes. So what was it,
Right.
7.7 you said? Yeah,
7.8. Yeah.
7.8. Ladies and gentlemen, that's a
Hmm.
very good movie. At 7.8 on IMDb.
Oh yeah.
Very good movie. All right,
Yeah. Let me see
so
how many out of how many
that's what
votes.
everyone else is saying about the movie.
Uh, 73,000 votes.
73,000 votes. Okay.
So
All right.
yeah.
Well, what do we think? Here, speak. Forget about IMDb, Rotten Tomatoes. Mike, what are you gonna grade this movie?
So I really enjoyed this movie, but more than um, it wasn't. It wasn't the story itself that did it for me. I think it was the performances. And I mean, the story was great. The writing was great. I like the overall plot. It's not anything spectacular, right? The story, but the writing was great, and Brandon Fraser's performance in this is
You sound like
amazing.
me right now.
Like
But what is?
he's wearing this prosthetic. He's wearing this prosthetic, and he's emoting through this stuff.
His
His
eyes?
eyes
Oh shit!
and his mouth.
All right,
Yo, that blew me away. I
dude.
was
I have
watching
two
him
grades
like,
for this because of him. But go ahead. I want to let you speak your piece.
I know you're great, and agree with you, man. His grade, the grade on his performance alone, I give A plus. The
Same,
movie, I give like a B
same. All
plus.
right. Sorry,
Yeah,
we already blew out
exactly.
the order. Yeah.
Hong Chow, the who played Liz, she's also nominated for Best
She
Supporting
is.
Actress
She
this Sunday,
is.
and she did a
I
wonderful
can't recall
job
who
as
she's going
well.
up against, but
So
yeah.
yeah, I don't know who's. Yeah, I don't know if she'll win, but she did a great job. She deserves to be up there.
She did.
So,
And
um,
our lady from Stranger
yeah.
Things, she was pretty good for a young actress.
Oh,
Yeah,
Sadie, yeah, yeah, she did a great job as the evil, not so evil kid. You know what I mean?
yeah,
It's definitely a flip from her character on Stranger Things. So she's got the range. She can play. Somebody who's not so goody two
yeah. She
shoes.
can play an adult character just about, but yeah. All right, so
Yeah, pretty
basically, it
much.
sounds like our grades are in sync. The movie
I
as
think
a
so.
whole ranges between a B and a B plus for me. When you take into the
Yeah.
plot, the script, the cast, the production, music, score, which the music really didn't hit me until the final 15 seconds. Um, but
Hmm.
Brandon Fraser to me stands alone from this movie. And I hate to say it, like that's like when LeBron carried that 2015 Cleveland Cavaliers. It
Right.
was just like you're gonna be MVP of a losing team. Although this movie's not a losing movie. I'm just trying to say like he was that much different from the movie, and he got an A+ for
Yeah.
me just from. And I can't think the last time I seen an actor of his. Wow, I gotta really think about that. Best Actor award for an actor.
What's that?
Like, what acting performance from a male actor I've seen this good in the last couple years?
Off the top of my head, I can think of maybe Tom Hanks in Philadelphia.
Oh, I said recently. You're going back. No, I'm talking about
I
within the
know,
last
but
couple
I'm going
years,
back.
dude. No, 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 no. I'm just trying to think.
I don't know. I can't even think of. I can't think of her.
Yeah, but that's the point we're getting at. Like his performance is
Yeah.
that much worth it for anyone here who's a fan of just like sci-fi stuff, who's a fan of anime, who's a fan of
Yeah.
like, sports. It's worth your time to watch this movie just on his performance alone. And at worst, you might give this maybe a B- or a C as a movie, but you will not deny Brandon
Hmm.
Fraser's role. So yeah, our grades, I think our grades are both a B+ for the movie. Let's just say a B+ for the movie. Brandon Fraser by himself gets an A+. And I think that's it, Mike. This was good. Thank you for taking the time to review this movie, which wasn't on our radar up until when the Oscars nominated this as one of the top movies, well, top award movies. So let
Yeah.
our
Yeah.
folks know where they can catch us to see other movies that may not fall into the geek culture.
Yeah. I mean, like first off, we're Gen X, so like we grew up watching everything. You know what I mean? So we're not. We were geeks at heart, yes, but we we're expanded. We're the expanded geeks, right? We'll watch everything. And I want you guys to go see this movie, especially if you're a parent. Like, go see
Yeah.
this and think about your relationship with your kids. And I don't want to say compare, but take notes. You know what I mean? Because we all do, like I said in the beginning, we all do stupid things sometimes. Our kids do it, we do it. And obviously, I don't think we would be as bad as what's going on there. But, see this movie. And then hit us up on social media at Heroes Peak. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. Let us know what you thought of the movie. We'd love to hear it. Leave a comment, and don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Yeah, leave a comment and do us a favor. Let us know. For those of you who are parents, let us know if you connected or didn't connect with this movie, what you would have loved to have seen from this movie, or what this movie did to you in your current relationship with your child, who, again, may be an adult child or a younger child. Doesn't really matter as long as you're a parent. And for those who are not a parent, take a look
Right.
at the movie and say, hey, I think Brandon Fraser was pretty, he's back, or overrated. We don't care. Leave us a comment. We'll engage with you guys, except for any Bollywood
Yeah. Oh,
comments.
yeah.
Like we're done at the current moment about Bollywood movies. We're taking hiatus on Bollywood movies for a bit.
Yeah. I think so.
All right, ladies and gentlemen,
All
thank
right.
you for joining us. Have a good night. We will see you very soon on another quick peek.
Good night.